a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
These are good problems to have, right? So much success that you have more than one place to be.
5-3, touchdown, Oregon.
Off a dribble, launches, and hits the three. Oregon leads.
What a great opportunity it is to be able to play at University of Oregon.
I'm just incredibly proud to be a part of something like this.
She wants another three. Oh, three in a row.
Oregon is headed to the Super Regional.
Big Ten champions, your Oregon Ducks.
We are so privileged and so fortunate. We get to see all these young people. We get to see this incredible growth, which is what college is all about.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
It is not Christmas yet, even though the hand is asking the question as we start the show today. Saul Galvan, our OSN broadcast intern extraordinaire. Finals week was last week, so Saul and every student is like, let's go! Holiday season is here. Well, that also means that if you're the Oregon football team, for example, practice continues even if you don't know who your opponent is yet. We're going to find out on Saturday when we all settle in to watch that Tennessee and Ohio State game. Gives the Ducks, though, a chance to self-scout, work on a few things that, regardless of who the opponent is, the Ducks would like to improve. We're going to cover all of that today because Dan Lanning and Dillon Gabriel met with the media after this morning's practice. Also, award season continues. And talking about awards for both football and volleyball today. Finally, we will review Oregon women's basketball. What a win last night! Just an offensive onslaught from Oregon women's basketball. We'll break all that down with Kelly Graves. Also some transfers for the Oregon soccer program to tell you about. And a reminder, Jerry and Jorgie will be in the Country Financial Studio tomorrow. Bull Pick'em. I need to start preparing now. We're 24 hours away from it, and I got to get ready for what is a intense bull pick'em with Jerry and Jorgie. So we've got that for you tomorrow. Also, men's basketball getting ready for the final game before the Christmas holiday. We'll hear from Dana Altman on tomorrow's show, which brings me to something very special today. Alex Stimson is in the studio, folks. He's made an appearance. It feels like it's the middle of football season again when Alex Stimson is in the Country Financial Studio. He and the Quack Video crew putting together the broadcast last night for Oregon women's basketball. Also getting all the interviews for you on YouTube. Speaking of those interviews on YouTube, we're going to hear from Coach Lanning to start things off today. But first, Mimi Collier, the AVCA naming her a second-team All-American. Congratulations to Mimi Collier. 4.73 points per set, nearly 4 kills per set, over 2 digs per set. Had 20 or more kills in 5 matches, a career-high 90 blocks. Mimi Collier, spotlight's going to be on her next year, a senior next season, returning second-team All-American. Also, sporting news, the All-America team for football coming out today. Both on the second team, Dillon Gabriel and Derek Harmon. Congratulations to Dillon Gabriel and Derek Harmon garnering more All-America recognition. Quarterback Dillon Gabriel, defensive lineman Derek Harmon. A few other Ducks have shown up on the various award lists, but those guys have been pretty consistent in their All-America honors. Coach Lanning. A little bit of a hoarse-voiced Coach Lanning at the podium today, brought to you by the White Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center, better cancer care close to home. We talked with the head coach after practice just a little bit ago.
Good day of practice today. Guys have been hard at work, so we can hop right into it.
Do you feel like Tosh is getting enough credit, Dan, for all that the defense has been able to accomplish this year, particularly in light of all conference picks, all American picks, to have a top 15 unit with what some of your peers don't view as a whole lot of great players? Seems to be like quite the accomplishment that he may not be getting all the credit he deserves.
Yeah, I think Tosh and our entire defensive staff have done a phenomenal job. I also think our players probably deserve more credit than they've gotten too. I think we have some really good players. So, but we don't really worry about what everybody else thinks, But obviously our defensive unit's done a good job. Our offensive unit's done a good job. Coach LaPoy's done a great job over there, along with the rest of those defensive coaches.
What's your policy with transfer players in the bowl game? Are you allowing those guys to practice with the team if they choose to? And what's your policy there?
Yeah, those guys for us, if most of them want to go find the next opportunity, right? And it's hard to do both, right?
A lot going on with recruiting, transfer portal, preparing for a bowl game. Just simply put, how do you feel you and your staff are managing all of these things?
I think they're doing a good job. Yeah, I think, we have a clear focus of what we're trying to accomplish. And, like I've said before, that everybody has an assignment, everybody has a job, they got to do their job.
And I know you talked a lot about Dillon already last week, but with his accuracy, I know a lot of his success is what's between the ears and his competitive level, but just like physically, I've been pretty blown away by some of the like just pinpoint passes he's been able to make this year. And I'm wondering, just from a coach's perspective, like what does he do mechanically, or just how is he able to do that? And what impresses you about that?
Yeah, repetition. He holds himself to a high standard, but you see him constantly in practice throw a ball and then go through the routine of throwing the ball again on air, right, in his mind. But I think consistent, preparation, leads to some separation for him when it comes to where he's throwing the ball and the success he has.
On signing day, you mentioned some guys that enroll early. Who has shown up? And I guess just how can they help you prepare for a playoff stretch?
Yeah, there's been a few guys show up. I'm not going to get into the names of who's here, who's not. There's going to be more joining us. But yeah, it certainly helps us. It gives them a leg up, an opportunity to steal some extra practices before spring ball.
What has Evan Stewart's toughness and reliability meant to this offense, this receiving core? Because I think he's only had the one drop all season in terms of toughness. Even Nick Saban's talked about at times some of his route running and being willing to take hits from safeties over the middle.
Yeah, I think Evan's proven to be a really solid player for us. He's done a really good job. What I'm more impressed with is we challenged him early in the year to be able to block on the perimeter. He's done a really good job of that as well, as of late, and strained to create second level plays for our offense. But Evan's been really consistent. I'm really proud of his effort.
I know we talked to you kind of right after like the CFP was announced, but now that you've had some time and to practice and look over the film from that Big Ten championship game, maybe what are the focuses that your team is focused on that aren't when you don't know who your opponent will be for another 3 days?
Yeah, we're kind of prepping for both. Really the first week we focused on us and did a really deep dive into us and who we are and what we've done well, what we can improve. And then really this week we're working on a little bit of both. Tennessee and Ohio State.
When it comes to the portal, how do you guys balance being patient and waiting for some potential big names to become available versus going after guys that you think can help you guys right now?
I think it's always about understanding the needs of your team. What are your strengths? What do you feel like you're going to need, moving forward? And then a lot of it's numbers as well. Like you might not know that you're going to be interested in a player, but then you lose a player and that's a roster spot that you want to make sure that you have filled on your team.
Dan, obviously, people know Bryce Petcher is such an amazing dual sport athlete, but can you kind of just talk about what's made him such a great representative of wearing the O that you talk about so much and kids that come from the Eugene area?
Yeah, I think it starts there. It starts that this is his hometown, and he's really proud to, every day to go out there and wear that O, right? And being a guy that grew up coming to watch games, it means a little bit to him. And then really just the way he attacks the field every single day, regardless if it's a game or practice, this guy has a mentality when he steps on the field.
Have you crossed paths with Bill Belichick in your career? And what were your reactions to him coming down to the college level? Like, how do you think like his X's and O's and style will translate?
Yeah, I got an opportunity to go visit OTAs before and visit with him on the phone a few times. Obviously, a brilliant football coach, and there's a reason he's had all the success he's had, extremely organized, deep thinker, and certainly he can coach football. So I wouldn't be surprised at all to see his success there at UNC.
I wonder what the plan is for Saturday. Do you get the whole team together to watch some of the games, or yeah,
we'll have practice. We'll have practice in the morning, and then we'll watch it separately that night, so we can really deep dive into it.
How do you evaluate the job that Will has done as OC this year, and just what makes him effective as an OC these 2 years, Dan?
Adaptability, probably start there, but I think Will's done an outstanding job. And again, I think Will will be the first one to tell you that he does that with his offensive staff, right? We got a great offensive staff around him that he pulls a lot of ideas from. I think he works really well with other people. I think he understands his players' strengths, and our offensive staff understands our players' strengths and how we can put them in position to be successful.
When Bo was completing like 74% of his passes 2 years ago, I was talking to Mike Bellotti about it, and he was just blown away because back when he was coaching, anything above 60 was considered plus. You guys have essentially done that 3 years in a row now. Is that something that this offense is dependent upon, is having a guy in that kind of 70 to 75-ish ratio? Or does whoever plays next year have to be in that range for you guys?
Well, I think that's good football, right? And I think the completion percentages across college football have gone up over the last few years. But I think it's a product of good quarterback play, and I think it's a product of a good system that, you know, we've done a good job of developing those guys to take the ball where it needs to go and have, you know, high execution. There's a lot more yards after catch now in college football than there were 15 years ago. I think that starts with, you know, there's some passes that are completed. The average depth of target might be a little bit less, but those guys turn those plays into great plays. So you're going to have more completions.
Your relationship with Jordan goes back to recruiting him in high school, Dan. Just when you know him and his mother that long, what makes their relationship, the Jordan-Henri relationship, unique compared to others of other players and whatnot? What makes her that central and that important in his life?
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever been around a mom and a son that are that close, right? They have an unbelievable relationship. She cares deeply about him and his success. And yeah, she was a big part of the recruiting process early on when I didn't get him, but she's been a big part of his growth, you know, in his time here as well.
Wondering kind of what your memories were from being in New York City last weekend with Dillon, and maybe your observations of how he was taking in everything there.
Well, I'm really excited that Dillon got to be a part of that opportunity. My biggest observations are I hate traffic, right? To go spend an hour and a half to travel 8 miles is insane to me. But what an awesome event, first-class event. And, you know, Dillon's certainly deserving of that, so I'm glad he got to be a part of that.
Coach, we've seen you come in here after practices, after games, and I've never heard your voice this shot. I'm curious what makes this time of the year just so intense that you can lose your voice from a practice on Wednesday.
Yeah, I guess I didn't know I was going to talk to you guys.
Neutral site games don't tend to favor Oregon because we're up the Pacific Northwest. How valuable is it to have this game at the Rose Bowl when Ohio State or Tennessee would be, you know, traveling across the country and you guys just have a short trip down to LA?
Well, I certainly think there's an advantage right now for our fans to be able to hop on opportunities wherever those tickets may come from, to be able to get as many of them as possible so we can fill up that stadium and make it feel like a home game. There's other teams that don't know if they're going to be there or not, so it's our chance to take advantage of as many of those seats as possible, and certainly could create an advantage for us in the game if we're able to attack that.
The adage, Dan, is that you never want to be the guy after the guy, and yet Dillon's done that throughout his football career, and arguably maybe he was even more successful at times than his predecessor. And he's also been a really hard act to follow. What is it about your quarterback that he's just wired this way, that the pursuing and following a Bo is not too much, and hearing questions about Bo or Caleb or Kenzie or whatever it was isn't too much, that he relishes those opportunities?
Yeah, I think ultimately the stage is never too big for Dillon, right? He's shown up big in pressure moments for us. I think he holds himself, again, to a higher standard than a lot of other people do. And, you know, he has high expectation for himself, but when you can stay that composed in pressure situations, you know, and have success like he's had, you know, it kind of illustrates it for itself, right? He's just been really good in those moments.
There was a lot made of bye week in terms of the I guess the CFP playoffs. So now you're kind of living it here with the opportunity to have a little more extra time. What have been the advantages in your mind of earning that bye?
Yeah, recovery. It's been a big piece. We've been able to kind of distribute our practices a little bit differently than we would during a normal game week. More of like a 3-day on, day off model. More recoveries and lifts. You know, opportunities to take advantage of the weight room as well. And then just really studying ourselves. You know, you can do a lot deeper dive when you have a little bit more time.
It's definitely a huge benefit having that bye. Ducks not preparing for an opponent this weekend. In fact, as Coach Lanning said, preparing for a couple. Looking at Tennessee a bit, looking at Ohio State a bit. And then we'll all find out who the Ducks' opponent will be after the first round of the new 12-team college football playoff concludes on Saturday. Coming up, Dillon Gabriel. After the Heisman experience, we'll talk with the Heisman Trophy finalist from after practice this morning, right after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
I'm a pretty great multitasker. I can wash dishes and do laundry. I can roller skate while walking my dog. I can even order lunch while doing my homework. But I can't use my phone while driving. A distracted driver is one of the leading causes of death in the United States. So when it comes to driving, please, don't be a multitasker.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack with you in the Country Financial Studio. Oregon football practicing this morning as the Ducks get ready for the Rose Bowl. I cannot wait for this weekend first, and then the Rose Bowl. There's something special about it when you get to that quarterfinal round for the college football playoff. Today, Dillon Gabriel announced as a second-team All-American according to Sporting News. And, of course, it's award season. A lot going on around the practices as Dillon Gabriel was in New York, got that Heisman Trophy finalist experience. And what an amazing experience, and what a deserving guy to have that experience. And today we got the chance to catch up with Dillon Gabriel in the press room in the Hatfield-Dowland complex. Dillon Gabriel talking about the Heisman experience and where the Ducks are at as practice continues and preparations for the Rose Bowl are underway. Dillon Gabriel here.
Very busy last week or so for you. I'm wondering if you've been able to kind of step back a little bit and appreciate all of the craziness while you're also trying to prepare for this upcoming game.
For sure. Just glad I got to represent our guys. You know, I think you look at a body of work as a whole, as a unit. You just appreciate all that goes into it. And I'm glad I could represent them. But met a lot of great people, had a lot of great conversations. So I'm grateful and blessed to be a part of that too.
With everybody who managed to make it to New York, just what did General Booty being able to make that trip at the end and surprise you like that? What did that mean to you?
It was good fun. You know, I think the best part of all this is like you get to be around family, and you know, even when family travels out for games, it's just different. You know, you're preoccupied on something else. But for that event, at least, we could enjoy each other's company and just hang out.
Just asking Coach kind of what the benefits are of the bye. He said kind of the rest, and you guys maybe taking a different practice approach. Just from your perspective, what have the advantages been of having a little more time than the other teams?
I think just getting everyone back has been important, which is good, and then getting everyone reps as well. You know, I think in the year, in the season, you tend to, you know, what's urgent, what's important kind of deal, and now you're able to just kind of peel everything back, self-scout, and I don't think we'd have that time if we didn't have the bye, and then getting a head start. So there's a lot of pros to it. We have a great schedule that keeps us in football shape, you know, keeps us conditioned the whole nine, but also doesn't kill us. So it's been really good and refreshing. And then, like I said, I think just the deeper conversations we're able to have because we have more time has allowed us to get on the same page more.
On a similar note to that, how do you balance keeping in football shape and resting up and trying to get healthy and not letting rust build up or get stagnant?
Yeah, just being super intentional with the reps. And I think coach does a good job of like knowing when to, of course, get our work in, or knowing when, hey, like maybe this is a different way we can approach practice. So he's done a great job of that and has helped us a bunch. But I still think, it's a balance that everyone's trying to find. And as a player, I know we found a great balance on the player side.
Dillon, I know completion percentage comes down to a lot of timing and chemistry and the routes and stuff, but in actually like breaking down like your accuracy, what would you pinpoint to throughout your development of your career that allowed you to develop that trait to be able to? It's not like you've had to put it through a window a ton this year, but when you've had to, you've been able to with pretty high success rate.
Yeah, I think reps. Not a lot of people are patient enough now to get past a certain point of, there's going to be failure, there's going to be inconsistency, but I also believe that there's another side to that, kind of over the mountain that people can't see, right? And I think I've found a happy medium, and was able to get over that hump. I think throughout my career, I've done my due diligence, but I've also played around great people, so it's helped me. But I think taking that next step is having patience, and people trusting your ability. And Coach Lanning and Coach Stein know like the spring wasn't the prettiest, but they also understand that it's a marathon, and the growth happens, through failure and learning. How are you ever going to know if you can fit a ball in a tight window or challenge a certain coverage if you don't do it? So I think the confidence is from having coaches that trust your ability and allow you to grow in that way. And I'm blessed that I have that, because I think it's doing me right. So
Can you speak to just the impressiveness of Dave Iuli coming in middle of November, not playing at all, in a position of protecting you, and just how well he's done and what's allowed him to be so successful for you guys there?
Yeah, I think him being here for a good amount of time, he's very, he's a vet in his mind in terms of what he knows and what we try to do offensively, which has helped him just plug and play. And of course, he dealt the physical battles, but you just see a guy who's continuing to fight and keep swinging, and I appreciate that as a player. A guy who pours his all into it, and really came in mid-season when we needed him, and he just executed, and he's just reliable. But more importantly, I think you're seeing him turn and flourish into his own as he like this is perfect for him. This time to kind of peel everything back and kind of take a deep breath and see how he can get better. And I think, you just look at him, like I'm grateful for him and his contribution to what we do offensively. But he's a damn good player. He's a damn good person. And being around him, you're extra competitive. You smile a little more. He's a infectious person. So
Dillon, obviously the Rose Bowl is such an historic thing, and the team gets to do a lot of cool and really fun things while you guys are on that trip. Just how do you plan to find the right balance between taking all of it in, genuinely enjoying it, but also staying focused on football and the game when it gets there?
Yeah, I think that's the hard part too, right? We do live life outside of this building too. So, when that we have that short Thursday, practice or day ends at a half day, you still have time to go hang out with family and do that sorts of thing. There's still going to be meetings, but once you leave the building, people do what they do. It's life, and I think that's where we'll do things with the bowl sites, but we'll just be able to enjoy together. So I think it's actually more of a positive thing that we're just spending more time together, but for the most part, bowls are fun. We earn the right, to be there and play in it. We also know what's at stake, but we're going to get our work in with Coach, and we'll be just fine.
Dillon, I'm curious, what would your Heisman ballot have looked like?
You don't want to know. But truth is, it is what it is. I'm not chasing that. I was appreciative of it. I'm representing my guys, so shit, I'm going to go. You know what I mean? But for the most part, I think you got to understand the illusion that's created and the external opinions of that have no, they have nothing to do with what I want to accomplish. But you appreciate it from a distance. If I wanted individual awards, I would have played tennis or golf, but I'm playing football. So I'm chasing wins, like I said, and I know what I'm not chasing. So
Talked about the ability and the benefit to be able to kind of focus this last month on the self-scout. What's the first thing that maybe comes to your mind when you're looking at your own self-scout, or maybe the offense's self-scout, that you wanted to make sure that you worked really hard on in this next month to prepare for the Rose Bowl?
yeah, just how clean can we be? How efficient can we be? And, I think you look at, many times whether it's a 3 and out or a drive that doesn't end the way we want it, or why we're not sustaining drives. It is simple in the sense that we weren't playing clean. I didn't create a completion here. How could I have helped in progression? How do I extend plays more? Or how do I get to an answer quicker? And I truly believe you go through all the games, there's so many things you can clean up and you want back, but you also can't teach people, how to win, when you're in that situation. What I'm most proud of is how we found a way when we needed to. But cleaning it up when, how can we get away from people quicker? How do we leave no doubt? I think there's multiple times in a lot of games that, we're in the 30s range, we could be in the 40s or 50, as a scoring offense. So I think it's that killer instinct. I also believe that there's a lot of just execution that starts with me and that starts with everyone. But we all take pride in it together, so I think that also helps.
That's Dillon Gabriel upstairs in the Hatfield Allen Complex Media Center today. Met with the media after practice. Ducks continuing to get ready for the Rose Bowl, a chance to look at themselves. And on that note, we'll hear a bit from Dillon Gabriel in a moment about that self-scout and what he wants to see improved on moving forward. That's still coming as we continue on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Jan from Toyota here, live with some big news. Toyotathon is on. Okay, now back to your regularly scheduled programming.
Dealer inventory may vary. Toyotathon ends January 6th. Participating dealers only. Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Jan from Toyota here, live with some big news. Toyotathon is on. Okay, now back to your regularly scheduled programming.
Dealer inventory may vary. Toyotathon ends January 6th. Participating dealers only. Toyota, let's go places.
This is Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow, you sound just like him.
Then he said.
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and I dedicate a lot of my time going fast. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time-to-talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack with you here in the Country Financial Studio. Women's basketball with a big win last night. We'll review that and get you ready also for Thursday here coming up in a moment. A couple games this week for Oregon women's basketball before the holiday break. Going to hear from Kelly Graves. Also some transfers for Oregon soccer. And tomorrow, Jerry and Georgie will join us here in the Country Financial Studio. You imagine we'll talk a little football, have a little fun, poke some fun at each other. I think I got to ask them what they want for Christmas. And if both of them don't say a national national championship, I will genuinely be surprised. Right? That has to be what those guys want for Christmas, right? I know it's what Scott Phillips wants for Christmas. Scott's going to Hawaii, though. Yeah, Scott is going to Hawaii. That's exciting. Yeah. Great fun. Speaking Dillon Gabriel met with the media today. Oh, we have no fun in the Country Financial studio. Part 2 of the Duck quarterback meeting with the media and getting you ready for the Rose Bowl coming up on the 1st.
What has it been like working with Will this year and in this shotgun wedding scenario that you had? And I don't want to say compare per se because the Levy relationship spans multiple years and multiple spots, so it's different.
Yeah.
But when you are learning a different terminology and it's not Hype or Levy's or Gus's terms and it's shorter and this is more wordy, what has this been like this year?
As I've gotten older, and I'm only 23, so don't say I'm too old in the media, but yeah, one more week, gosh, no bueno. But as I've gotten older, I've appreciated like just different experiences, different coaches, and learning more. You know, I think when you can get stuck in one system, you can think you know it all and how football is. And, you know, as I've gained new experiences, and of course here at Oregon, you just appreciate, you know, the different styles of football and how you can grow in so many ways and how you can be challenged. And I think I appreciate most is just the environment we have. You know, I've never been in the pros, but I've talked to some people, and this is probably the closest I've been around, you know, and just how coach is and letting it be player led and letting us go be us and kind of make it our own thing. I think there's, you know, ownership in that, and you want to do it the right way. And, no, you appreciate it. And I appreciate Coach Stein, Coach Lanning, everyone involved, Coach Terry, Coach Junior. I think just the conversations you're able to have is high level, and they want it to be that way. So as a player, it's been everything and more.
I ask you about Jaren Kiave and your relationship. And first off, what was the reaction when he did?
I can. Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Sorry.
Thanks for clarifying. No,
yeah.
That's good. What was your reaction when he did sign a couple weeks ago, and then take us back to last summer at the Elite 11 and what stood out there that led you to tell Dan this may be a guy to look at?
Yeah. I'm so happy for him. You know, I purposely didn't want to talk to him much because I want the best decision for him. You know, it's as a guy who's from Hawaii, like wherever that was for him, I wanted it to be for him. You know, all I told him was, shoot, you're going to be living it every single day. So make sure you're happy with your decision, you know? But I think he made the right decision, you know, and I'm proud of him. But I thought highly of him when I'd watch him when I'd go back home and throw. But I think when I saw him at the Elite 11 around, you know, top level guys as well, the dude can sling it. You know, he's got pop behind his arm. Of course, I'm a little biased, him being a lefty, but also, I mean, it wouldn't take anyone to see it. Like, go watch this kid throw live. Like, he's got pop. He can sling it with the best of them. But more importantly, I know the type of kid he is, being from Hawaii. So I'm proud of him, and I think there's maybe a little pipeline starting, hopefully. So no pressure, Coach Lanning.
Back to Will, just what's it about this offense that produces elite quarterbacks? You and Bo are different players, and yet same levels of success here. And why is this offense so attractive to a guy like Jaren and other quarterbacks?
I truly believe it is pro quarterback, you know, and more than just the X's and O's and scheme. I think it's, you know, the ownership in making it yours and allowing us to be in position to lead and, you know, have conversations with receivers, tight ends, O-line, the whole nine, you know, the meetings and allowing us to be vocal in those as well. And I think just those high level conversations, you know, those meetings throughout the week with Coach Stein and Coach Lombardi, like I've never gone into a game uncomfortable. You know, we talked through a million different situations or what I'd like in this situation, and you appreciate that because you know it's gonna. You're not caught by surprise when you're on that field, you know, and even cooler, you know, headset communication when I come off. You know, he's one of the first OCs I've had like on the field. So, yeah, it's as a quarterback, you need that alignment and that relationship to have success, and you just appreciate it.
You talked about having, obviously the life outside of this building, but I'm curious, having played in an era of college football where athletes are probably as big of stars or celebrities than they've been in this sport's history. What has that been like for you, adjusting to that, and to, every single one of us in this room has written a story about you and knows your background. Like, how have you kind of adjusted to that role of everyone knowing every little thing about you?
Yeah, I understand the illusion, I understand the whole deal now. I think as a young kid, you don't know what it is, and you look up to it, and you watch others do it, and you read it, but once you're in it and you experience it, you understand that we're all the same. I'm not bigger than anyone or too small for anyone. I am who I am, and that's the confidence of knowing that anyone I'm in front of, I'm just gonna be myself, and I think people get lost in that at times, and that's kind of what I was alluding to, within a substance analogy, is people can get lost in that, and be filled up with the wrong things, but I think because I've played a bunch and been around a lot of programs and a lot of people, and had success, had failure, right? You just know what's real and what's not. So that's allowed me to be me. And I think everyone has that certain time in their life that, it clicks, but sometimes it takes longer for others.
Dillon, Bryce Betcher, obviously people know about his passion as an athlete, but I'm just wondering what your observations are of him as a representative of kids that come from Eugene, and just what little ways Oregon football has benefited from having a personality like him around.
Yeah, I think the hometown hero thing is real. I think as a kid, I grew up and wanted to play for hometown. That's how you grow up naturally. And I think you see a kid that's always wanted to play for Oregon, and has wanted to represent his community and, of course, be home. But more importantly, I just enjoy his company. He's in my locker aisle, so we do our due diligence of daily banter and messing around. But he's just a good dude. He's about the right stuff. I think him being here, he represents everything that's right in college football. And how he's worked his way up and plays 2 sports, walked on, earned his thing. He's just, who wouldn't want a guy like that on your team and what he represents? So I'm appreciative I get to play with him, and be around him every single day. He's a competitive dude, and I told him we got to go hit BP one time. So no pressure again to Bryce.
Hitting BP with Bryce Betcher and Dillon Gabriel would be a sight to behold. I feel like, the age-old comparison is always how good will a quarterback be on the mound, right? A lot of quarterbacks are always pitchers, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I feel like Dillon Gabriel could throw a fastball, high velocity, and he's a lefty. He's going to have a little tail on it. I wonder what the breaking ball looks like out of Dillon Gabriel's hand. Can he change the arm slot like a quarterback? Bryce Betcher, you let us know. When we come back, we're going to review a little women's basketball from last night. Big-time win for the Ducks. Hear from Kelly Graves after, honestly, a blowout. Great to see. More coming on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
back to the Country Financial Studios in 60 seconds. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Kids ask their parents a lot of questions.
Why can't people fly?
Gravity.
Is the moon really made of cheese?
Yep, cream cheese.
When can I move into a big kid's car seat?
For some questions, parents may not have the answer, but that's okay. They can't know everything, but knowing the right seat for their age and size will help protect them in a car crash. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Where do babies come from?
Good luck, Dad. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
I'm coming home to the place that I remember. Back to the land of my first love. Would you spread wide your arms for this wayward son? I left my heart.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Oregon women's basketball last night. Let me just start and work backwards for you, okay? The Ducks finished on a 21-3 run in the last 6 minutes and 20 seconds. A football score of a run, 21-3. You know what's odd about that is also Oregon hit 2 of its last 10 field goals from the floor. The Ducks shot 59% overall and attempted 73 shots. They won 98-36. I mean, I don't care who your opponent is. 98-36 on the hardwood is really impressive. Philly had 14. Katie Fiso had 10. Nani Falatea had 11. Sarah Rambis had 11. Everyone saw the floor. Everyone scored. Peyton Scott had 8 points, and it's like, you don't even need more than that. I love the fact, too, that Elisa Mevius had 8 assists in the game. Elisa Mevius is a tremendous asset as a point guard. Like, you just imagine a few years from now, just the facilitator that she is on the floor. I think she is an elite-level passer, Elisa Mevius. Overall, though, you got to like what you saw from the Ducks in this game. Again, you know, Deja Kelly has 8 rebounds, scores 8 points in 22 minutes. The Ducks didn't need her to do more than that. Ducks were 43 of 73 in the game. Out-rebounded Air Force 48-27. Had 68 points in the paint. 68 points in the paint for Kelly Graves' squad. 98-36 win over Air Force. Really impressive for the Ducks. And I think certainly that's a game that on paper you say, yeah, Oregon should win that game. 98-36, though? Again, I don't care what level of basketball, who you're playing, that's really hard to do. Kelly Graves broke it all down for us post-game.
Just really pleased. It was a great effort. I mean, honestly, we played well, both ends of the floor. We were aggressive, both ends of the floor. It was awesome to see everybody contribute tonight. Honestly, I thought every player that went in contributed and did some good things at both ends of the floor. The starting unit got us going, and we kept it rolling. I liked our defensive energy, getting out in transition, and we wanted to get some momentum going into the Big Ten with these 2 games, and tonight was a step in that right direction for sure.
You mentioned kind of everybody contributed. I think 51 bench points. Like almost everybody scored 8 or more points on this box score. It's kind of fun to look through. Just how does that make you feel going into, as you mentioned, that stretch, knowing that there's a lot of players that can contribute?
Yeah, this is, I thought, our best game in terms of like everybody contributing. We've had some big scores, but this was, I think one of our best games. Yeah, it's a luxury as a coach knowing that you can go to different players that hadn't played a lot. Our 2 freshmen, I thought, did a great job tonight. Katie knocking down that 3, I thought was big for her confidence, and then Ahis is just a load. Just so physical and did a great job at both ends. So. I was just really pleased, and I hope the team is. They looked like they were genuinely having a great time. You know, the starters spent more time than normal on the bench, and they were cheering for everybody else. So that's really nice to see.
Given what Katie's been going through, just what was it like to see her have that success at the end?
Yeah, everybody's pulling for, you know, and I know the fans, they had announced that last game, and so, you know, I think the fans were there pulling for her as well. So it was great to see. She's a heck of a player. I mean, you get her in the open court, she makes things happen.
You had 31 assists and, you know, played 11 players still and no drop off in the ball movement. That had to be another positive.
Absolutely. 31 assists on 43 field goals. We'll take that percentage every day. That one of the best, you know, again, just unselfish and inside out production. You mentioned the points in the paint. Her perimeter was great. Just kind of, I don't know. It's being redundant. I just thought we played really well.
Have a lot of players on this team that were the number one option at their last school or obviously in high school for a lot of them. What does it kind of say about the group collectively that they're able to, you know, Mevius doesn't need to score 20 points a game. Deja doesn't need to score 20 points a game on this team for you guys to be successful.
Yeah, you know, Deja and Peyton especially, you know, those are two older kids. They're in it for, you know, this is their last go round, and for them to be as unselfish they are, you know, they set the tone for everybody else. But yeah, it's a group that gets along. They play really hard. They play well together. Yeah, it's an unselfish group. And you're right. We have a lot of kids that are doing this for the last time. Lexi Whitfield. Solly's getting closer, by the way. She's practicing a little bit. But those fifth year, you know, Nani, that this is probably their last go round, you know, they got a lot to play for, so might as well give it everything you got. Thought Nani had a really good game tonight. Great floor game. Deja had a pretty good floor game. A lot of people. So, all right, I already said that. I got to quit saying that.
You mentioned kind of three-point shooting was something to focus on. I know the percentages maybe aren't quite where you want them to be, but a lot of good open looks, it seemed like.
Yeah, our free throws tonight and our three-pointers were the only two kind of negatives, but you know, you live with that, I guess, in a night like this. I'm not sure we've ever had 68 points in the paint. I don't know if we keep that kind of record, but maybe you give Chris something to do when he goes home. 68 points in the paint's a lot. And 51 bench points, I think, is probably pretty close to being about as good as you can get, too. Got some work to do, Chris.
Talking about Chris Brown, the great SID for Oregon women's basketball. And here's the thing about Chris. And also, the fact that the radio broadcaster, Chris Clayton, that they're both Chris, I just continue to have fun with this. I'm telling you, both of those Chris's are probably going to go back, at least through the Kelly Graves era, and have an answer if that is a record for points in the paint. 68 points in the paint is pretty ridiculous, if we're being honest. But I can almost guarantee you that both of those Chris's will be diving into the record book coming up. Now, two outstanding performances, one from Nani Falatea, the other from Katie Fiso. They also spoke with the media post-game after the Ducks' 98-36 win last night.
Now, you having a little bit more experience than Katie, what can a game like this mean for a team where everybody contributes? I mean, it seemed like you guys were having a good time. Just big picture, what did tonight mean? What can it mean going forward?
It's just good for chemistry, you know, when everybody gets involved, and especially like a game like this, you know, we coming off a loss and going into Big Ten play, it's just good to get everybody involved, and it's just really good for chemistry. So.
How much does 10 days between games, like how much does that help? Just kind of feel like a reset, because it did seem like there was energy across the board from just about everybody that went in there.
Yeah, 10 days is a long time off. You know, it's not your typical schedule, but it gives us a lot to look forward to. You know, you get a break and then you're just missing the game. So.
You guys know what Katie's been going through. What was it like to see her have some shots drop late and have some success and having fun out there?
It's so great. You know, we love Fiso. She's our sister. She's our little sister. She's the youngest kid on the team, you know. And so to see her be able to come out, everything that she's going through, I told her this already, but her strength is something that like even me, I'm older than her, and I look up to her for that. You know, it's not an easy thing to do, to be in her position and go through what she's going through. But yeah, you know, we have her back at the end of the day, and we're always here for her. I got you, bro. So yeah.
I guess, Katie, why is it important to be with the team playing, obviously, with something as significant as that? You could take a long time off, but what was the motivation to be back with everybody and doing this again?
Just to carry off what Nani said, this is like a family, and I value family, and for them to have my teammates step up, knowing what I went through, to step up and be there for me, I really value that, and I really am thankful to be a part of this team who can help me through this hard time. So I'm super grateful to be a part of this team and have people like Nani, Scotty, DK, everybody around me to support me, love me, regardless of how I play, good or bad. They're always going to be there for me. And just knowing that makes me just want to work hard for them, and I appreciate it. So.
Probably was fun to see shots drop, though.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
How this season's going for you just on the court? Just where do you feel like things are at? And what can a performance like this mean for you in your development?
Obviously, taking each game, learning from each game, growing, adding it day by day, stacking the days, stacking the games, learning from the games. And I feel like just as a team, going from this great team dub, learning from that, building the great habits, so that later in the season, like when we go to the March Madness tournaments, those little habits are all fine and perfect. So, yeah.
No, you had 31 assists as a team, and multiple players, you included, had more than 5 assists. What did it just say that you were able to rotate through a lot of different lineups and keep the ball moving?
Yeah, I mean, that's important, whoever's on the floor, having chemistry 1 through 13, 14, however many of us there are. That's always going to be a huge thing, and that's one thing that we pride ourselves in is our depth, and that we're able to go through our lineup without having any drop-offs, and, we saw that correlate today.
Yeah, what's it say, too, that, you were the number 1 option on the previous team you were on. Peyton was, Deja was, Mevius was, right? There's a lot of players that were a number 1 on their team and have taken smaller roles for this team to be better. What's that been like so far this season, just for the sake of winning, do that?
I think no matter what, whether you come from being like the go-to to having a smaller role, it's just knowing that every role is important. It doesn't take one person or just the go-to to win games. Even when you are the go-to, you don't look at your teammates and think less of them because their role is smaller, So that's pretty much what it's about. It's just every single role, everybody, it doesn't matter who they are, their role is important and it matters and it's needed to win. So.
Great to hear from both of those student athletes post-game. Katie Fiso lost her dad and now has been with the team and feels like a family. That's pretty special. And then to see a performance like that last night, that's awesome. A couple transfers for the Oregon soccer team and also a bit of a preview of what's to come tomorrow, including Oregon women's basketball's next matchup with UC Irvine, a 6 o'clock tip on Thursday. I'll tell you more about that next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Duck Insider continues from the Country Financial Studios in 1 minute on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when.
Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I like a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
You know you make me wanna kick my heels up and throw my hands up and throw my head back and come on now, so good to see you real.
Duck women's basketball with a big win last night as we welcome you back to Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Heard from Dan Lanning and Dillon Gabriel. If you missed it today, they're on the Go Ducks YouTube. The Quack Video crew's got them there for you. And then women's soccer today announcing a couple transfers, a few transfers actually, more accurately. Tracy Joyner, new head coach, coming from UC Davis, and she's now welcoming a few transfers from UC Davis. 3 transfers from her previous school. Midfielder Abella Hunter, goalkeeper Gia Kiesling, and defender Elise Picard, all signing with the Ducks as part of the new class coming your way for the spring season, and then also, of course, in August when Oregon soccer gets back to the regular season. Hunter was named the Big West All-Freshman team this fall, named to the Big West All-Freshman team this fall, while Picard earned that honor in 2023. Picard redshirted the most recent season, and both players will be sophomores. Kiesling also redshirted the 2024 season and will be a freshman for the upcoming season for the Ducks. Tracy Joyner, the Oregon soccer head coach, announcing those 3 transfers coming from UC Davis as the class continues to take shape, and we'll get into the spring season. I'm sure we'll talk with Coach Joyner coming up on a future Duck Insider. If you missed her conversation with us, though, from earlier, really fun getting to know her. She's going to be our neighbor across the hall, her and her staff. She's welcomed Chris King, who was with her at UC Davis as Oregon soccer taking shape. Now, the schedule ahead on tomorrow's Duck Insider, we will talk with Jerry Allen and Mike Jorgensen. We'll talk Oregon football. The guys and I will also make our Big Ten picks. And then on Friday, Ryan Milano is going to have you covered on the show. Paris Puacha, an outstanding freshman from Oregon men's tennis, put together one of the better seasons so far for Oregon men's tennis as a freshman. We'll talk with him on Friday's show. Also, Oregon women's basketball against UC Irvine at 6 o'clock on Thursday. The ugly holiday sweater game that Kelly Graves and his staff always partake in. Now, Saul Galvan's going to have the call on the Big Plus stream, our OSN broadcast intern extraordinaire. Saul wrote on the hand, chaos in T-minus 23 hours. That's because Jerry and Jorgie will be with us, but Saul's going to have the broadcast, and I'm told that you will be in holiday attire. Holiday attire on the Big Plus broadcast. No word yet on if Chris Clayton and Bev Smith on the OSN radio call will be partaking. I think they have to. Jerry and Jorgie are here tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Comes to a gun suicide attempt, all it takes is a moment.
My son, Ricky, took his life by the use of a firearm. It broke me, and I contemplated suicide. My grandson, I was gonna have to be here for him. I still own my firearm. I keep it in a safe because I